Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. I'm excited for day 2 and 3 of Evo, hope you are as well. I say day 2 and 3 because it's not possible I have this video finished for day 1. This video's topic is my prediction and hope for a Tekken 8 new character reveal. We know Armor King is next and will be shown off. There's no guarantee for another reveal so soon, but I hope there is a reveal. And I hope that by the time that character comes to Tekken 8, the Armor King patch has already done all the hardcore heavy lifting in terms of fixing issues with the gameplay that has had the Tekken community in a major slump since Season 2. There's still issues from Season 1 which also should be addressed, and once the majority of those issues are fixed, people can look forward to new stuff being implemented and be excited for a patch rather than hoping that Insert X 50-50 mix-up gets removed and replaced with more dynamic, engaging and interactive gameplay. Now let's talk about who I think / hope the new character will be and why. It is Juri Han from Street Fighter. There's no better place than Evo to show off a fighting game collab character, so this will be the perfect stage. Now, you might be thinking that this is a Gooner pick, and honestly you are right. That is definitely a big reason I think the character would sell incredibly well, but I have some less superficial reasons too. In Tekken 7, the character most people were hyped for was Akuma, at least for the casual players, and casual players are the foundation for monetary support for a game, so appealing to them is a good idea from a business point of view. With Juri, you get to have your cake and eat it, because she is popular with casual and expert players. She is a tough character to pilot, which a lot of try-hard Tekken players will find appealing, and she appeals to a ton of casual players for a lot of different reasons. For one, you have her appearance, which is the most obvious, and that will bring in a lot of people alone, like I mentioned earlier, but then there is her lore from Street Fighter, which some people find interesting, but lastly, and definitely my favorite reason, and the reason that I like Juri, is because of a fan webcomic called You've Got This Juri. So Capcom represent Juri as this serious, sexy, sadistic, villainous character, but she's not supposed to be so evil that you instinctively hate her. I think Capcom wanted people to see her the way a lot of people see Harley Quinn from Batman, but instead of her being insane, she is vicious and sadistic. Some fans probably do see her the dev intended way, but one fan didn't. Kang Yaku, who's the writer of the webcomic You've Got This Juri, a comic where Juri is represented in a completely different way instead of, sadistic and sexy and all that. She is cute and silly in this comic. The comic showcases Juri in funny scenarios that reference a bunch of different things in Street Fighter 6, and people loved it. And so did Capcom. In fact, Capcom loved it so much that they obtained the right to showcase the comics in-game and have them played on the big screen in the Street Fighter 6 Battle Hub. This is how I was introduced to them, and I loved them. So did everyone else. I have yet to hear anyone who hasn't thought that they were endearing at least. So I've sold you on the idea this character is popular, which people who know about Juri probably already knew. But what makes her a good fit for Tekken? And if she needs to be implemented into the story, how could that be done? Alright, so to address the first question, Juri is not a pushover. She has a modification called the Feng Shui, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, engine. It's a replacement eye that she was implanted with by Sin, which is like a branch of Shadowloo, when her parents were murdered by Shadowloo. The eye enhances her ki energy, which made her fighting potential skyrocket. Her sadistic personality makes her an incredibly dangerous person to be given such an enhancement. So not only could she believably stand up to the Tekken cast, but she would also be a unique personality. There's a lot of evil Tekken characters, but their motivations and specific personality traits are very different from Juri. The most similar character to Juri in Tekken would be Brian, and the fact some of you are typing in the comments to ask what the fuck I'm talking about speaks to just how unique she actually is and how she would add a unique dynamic to the roster. Her fight style would also be unique. She does use Taekwondo, which Hwoarang also uses, but if you look at gameplay of her and Hwoarang side by side, you'll immediately notice that Juri uses the style with so much creative liberty that it's more like a perversion of the art, which makes a lot of sense when you realize that her goal is to hurt someone rather than self-defense, which breaks the golden rule of martial arts, which is that you are mastering self-defense, you are not mastering brutality. So how would Juri be implemented into the story? In Street Fighter, Juri works for Shadowloo, the same organization that killed her parents, and is responsible for installing the Feng Shui engine into her eye. So Shadowloo think that the gift of the Feng Shui engine is a good enough compensation for murdering her parents, and also think that Juri is very happily working for them just due to the prosthetic eye that makes her like super good at fighting. But Shadowloo are dumb for that, because as you probably suspect, Juri is an enemy from within and betrays and sabotages the organization. This is why many people view her as an anti-hero, despite her vicious and sadistic nature. In the Tekken universe, there is a thing called the Devil Gene, which gives the host body immense power. In Street Fighter, Shadowloo are looking for host bodies for the main villain, Bison. In Tekken, Heihachi has a research facility that studies the Devil Gene, so here's how the story will play out. If it were like up to me to make the story or make it make sense as to how she would fit in. Okay, so Shadowloo tried to steal a host of the Devil Gene so that when Bison becomes another host of that body, Bison will have ultimate power under the assumption that he can overpower and control the Devil Gene like Kazuya did in Tekken 4. So when Shadowloo planned to take a host body, Juri tries to sabotage the operation by destroying the Devil Gene research facility, but there's someone who stands in her way, which is Reina, since, you know, she obviously is affiliated with Heihachi. I think it would make for a good brief rivalry, and it allows Bandai Namco and Juri to have a win-win scenario and give two different endings which impact the story in the same way, allowing players to make their preferred conclusion their headcanon. Okay, so if Juri defeats Reina, then she can destroy the facility, stopping Shadowloo. If Reina defeats Juri, then that will prove to Juri that she doesn't need to bother stopping Shadowloo, because Reina is going to do it, and like is capable since she beat Juri. So this allows Bandai Namco to have two paths forward if they ever feel they need to explain what happened to Heihachi's Devil Gene facility. It can exist or not exist depending on what is most convenient to Tekken's story in the future. So yeah. Alright everyone, that concludes the video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you and take care. And enjoy EVO.